What's up guys, with the addition of the new Labyrinth secret pack, I decided to make a tier list and rank all the secret packs in Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel. Before we begin, there are two things to keep in mind. One, I am not an expert nor do I play every single one of those archetypes, but I believe I am competent enough to rank them. And two, if there is something you don't agree with, feel free to correct me in the comments below. Without wasting more time, let's just jump into the video. Now there are three criteria which I'm going to consider while ranking each of those secret packs. One, how many archetypes are there? 2, how good the archetypes actually are, and 3, how expensive are the decks to build. To start off, we've got zombies. Now zombies are actually interesting to begin with, so they do have a structure deck as well, and I would suggest you just buy the structure deck. You don't need the secret pack, you barely need any cards from it, so I would rank it terrible. Now the deck isn't terrible, but this is just the secret pack. Same thing goes for Salamangreat. You shouldn't buy Salamangreat secret pack, you should just open the structure deck. Moving on to the Advanced Warrior secret pack. In my opinion, this pack is absolutely ass and you shouldn't buy it. It has 4 different archetypes, none of which are actually that good. We've got True Draco, Amorphage, Ignites and Dynamists. None of these archetypes are good. The next pack is the Ignister pack. Now I will rank that as good because it has only one archetype in it and the archetype's fairly good. It also has a lot of high rarity cards that you would need for the deck, so you wouldn't pull something useless. And overall it's just a good deck. I might even consider putting it at very good, but for now we're gonna leave it at good. Next up we've got the Heraldic secret pack. Now this pack has only one archetype, which is good, but then again the archetype is absolutely terrible, so I would rank it as ass. Moving on to the Weather Painter and Social Fort pack. Now Weather Painters are good, Social Forts not so much, but the pack is still good in my opinion because Weather Painters are a fairly good archetype. There is one card that you would need to craft because it was in selection pack only, but overall the secret pack is not that bad. You could open it if you want to. Next up is the Melodious and Wind Witch pack. Now the pack isn't bad, the decks aren't terrible, but it's a decent pack. It's not amazing, none of these decks are very good, but you could play them if you want to. Next up we've got a couple of bad ones. The Nordic pack is not very good, the Artifact pack has the Guardians and the Artifacts and they are not very good, and the Volcanic pack is also not good. The only good card from there is the Lava Golem. Next up is the Madoche pack and I will rank it as very good. For me this is a typical example of a good secret pack because it has only one archetype and that archetype is really not bad at all, and that is two very good things to keep in mind. Next up we've got the Heroic Champions and the Battling Boxers. Again this pack is bad, I wouldn't suggest you buy it. And the Rika and Amorphage pack. Now the Amorphage part is obviously not good, the Rikas are kinda good, so I would put it at decent or maybe terrible, I don't know. I mean it's not terrible, let's put it at decent, dude. Decent's fine. And we've got the Bujin pack. The Bujin pack has only Bujins and the Bujins are not very good, but I would put it at terrible. It's not ass. Okay, the next one I have absolutely no idea what that is. I think it's Performa Pals, but Performa Pals are not very good, so ass. Next up, Drytrons. Drytrons are decent to open in my opinion. They are not amazing. I don't think they are terrible, but still, you don't need to open them. Aliens, oh my goodness. This pack is below ass, dude. Utopias are terrible. I don't think they are good. Maybe they are decent if you know how to play them, but you know, most people don't know. I don't know how to play them, so I'll put it at terrible. And now this is the Constellar and Satillar pack. I would say that this deck is maybe terrible or decent, something like that, you know, something in between. I would say it's decent deck. It's not insanely bad, but it's still not playable at all. Keep in mind that the Zombie and Salamangreat are actually better than terrible. It's just that you shouldn't open the secret pack when there are structure decks there, okay? Next up we've got the Gimmick Puppets. Gimmick Puppets are terrible, don't open them, absolutely. And we've got the Lavaus pack. Oh goodness, this is beyond terrible, dude. There isn't even a category for this. Oh my god, so bad. Next up we've got the Mechanical Entities. Now the only full deck here is the Mech Knights. Crowars are also in here, but you wouldn't play Crowars, right? But the Nightmare stuff is really good and I would put that pack as very good. Besides the Crowar part, any other two of the archetypes that you get are good. And we've got the Pendulum Magicians pack. Now this pack also has the Odd Eyes cards, which does make it a little more expensive if you want to get something, but still it is a good pack. The Odd Eyes part is not very good, but overall it's not a bad pack to open. Afterwards we've got the DDDs. DDDs are only DDD cards. The deck is fairly good and I would put that pack as good as well. And we've got the Crystal Beasts. The Crystal Beasts, I don't think they are very good to play. There is only one archetype in this and it's Crystal Beast only, so that makes it it even worse in my opinion. I would put them as maybe decent at most, but not really. I would say terrible, you know. The recent support that Crystal Beast received make the archetype a little bit better, but this is from selection pack and this is the secret pack only. Next up we've got the Reptilians. This is one of those packs. Okay, let's put them right here. And we have the Virtual Warlords. Now the Virtual Warlords does have the Tydangos as well, which is not a very good deck, but the Virtual Warlord cards are very good. Even though I would put it at very good because of Virtual Warlords, still having stuff like Tydangos there makes it a little more expensive, and the Virtual Warlords aren't as amazing as they used to be with True King of all Calamities not being banned. And yeah, I mean, it's just a good archetype to buy. It's just a fine deck. I wouldn't suggest you buy it in terms of the very good options. That's why I'm putting it at good. Next up is the Dark Magician secret pack. There is already a structure deck for this. You shouldn't open it, but I have actually opened the secret pack because the structure deck wasn't out, and oh boy, this pack was insanely expensive and insanely difficult to get. And we've got the Dark Wards. Now the Dark Wards have only one archetype in them, which is one good feature. Another one is that it has Forbidden Droplet, which is a good staple, and also Forbidden Lance and Chalice and stuff like that. And I would say that this pack is decent. It's not a bad pack to open. Maybe if the archetype was a little bit better, I would have put it at good, but for now it is just decent. Next up is the Naturia pack. I would say that you shouldn't buy this pack. It's decent at most, but most of the cards aren't actually usable, so yeah, it's a terrible pack to buy, really. And we've got the Fortune Ladies. This pack has one Prediction Princess card, one Earthbound Emotar as URs, and a bunch of Fortune Lady cards. This is a terrible pack to buy. Even as, in my opinion, don't spend your gems on it. And next up we've got the Scraps. Now the Scrap pack isn't terrible. It is like maybe decent because it has some engine, but this engine is not very good nowadays, so it is somewhere between terrible and decent. I would put it at terrible for now. This is the Odd Eyes pack, so there is a separate Odd Eyes pack, and again I would put it at terrible. It is not as ass as these, but it is terrible still. The Dragoonity pack, again terrible in my opinion. No one really plays Dragoonity nowadays. Yep, not very good. Next up is the Starry Knight and Dragon Maid pack. This is an absolutely terrible idea to buy. Not that Dragon Maids are terrible, it's just that there is already a structure deck for it and you wouldn't want to play Starry Knights, okay? You don't want to play this deck, trust me. So yeah, this pack's terrible to buy. And we've got the Tennis and the Yang Zheng. This is a really good pack to buy. I would actually put it as very good. Now, Tennis aren't usable always, and also Yang Zheng aren't very good, but the pack is very well based. It is not insanely expensive, and it is usable in some decks, particularly so. This is the reason why I put this as very good. Maybe you can get it down to good just because none of these archetypes on its own are very good, but I really want to put that here because I really think that this pack is very well balanced. Next up is the Super Dreadnought Omega Giga Machines. This pack is not terrible, it is not very good. I would put it at decent, okay? I know that there are fans of this deck, I just am not one of them, sorry. Next up we've got the Dogmatica Springgun Tri-Brigade pack. Now this pack was one of the best packs to open and it was one of my favorite packs in general, but now that Tri-Brigades aren't that amazing, I would put it at good. It is still a fine pack to open, it's just not as good as it used to be. Okay, next up is the Appliancer and the Batteryman. Bro, this pack's ass, don't buy it, please, I'm not gonna discuss it. And next up we've got one of the contenders in my opinion to actually be one of the best packs to open. Now the archetypes aren't insanely good on their own, you know, Life Twins are fine, Altergeist are fine, none of them are insanely good, but the pack is very well balanced when it comes down to how expensive the cards are, and I would say that this pack might be very good, okay? I wanna put them at best because I like some of the archetypes, but you know, let's put it at very good, okay? It's genuinely a good pack to open. And oh boy, the Gen X pack, oh my god, this is absolutely terrible, don't buy this please. Same goes for the Violence, these are two very bad secret packs. And next up we've got the Danger and the Kaiju pack. Now I will say that this pack deserves to be one of the best because when it comes down to the archetypes, playing them separately as a decks, they are not very good, but overall the pack is very good and both of these archetypes are usable in some form in other decks, okay? This is one of the best packs. You truly need to open this because it's usable in a lot of decks, and if any of those decks that you wanna play need those cards, just open it, it's a good pack. And we've got the Shadow Zephyrs. Okay, so Shadows are one of my favorite decks in the entire game, but the Zephyrs are really not good at all, and also Shadows aren't very good at the current meta, so this is a decent pack to open at most. And then we've got the Marinces and Trickstars. Now the Marinces are fairly good, the Trickstars aren't very good at all, so I would say that this pack is decent. Maybe it's good if you really know how to play Marinces, but then again, in my opinion, it is just decent at most. The Black Rose pack is terrible, don't buy it. You know, it has the Black Rose Dragon and the other level 10 guy, which is maybe like 2 good staples, but it's just a terrible pack, don't buy it. Fabled! Shout out to Duck, I really love his videos, but this pack's terrible, dude, don't buy it, please. And oh boy, the Burning Abyss pack, dude, this is just the best pack, okay? Nothing to say here, dude. This is just the best pack. I love Farfa, I love Burning Abyss, I love Magical Musketeers. It's just the best, okay? Okay? This is just the best. And moving on to the Flightfoot and Fluffo stuff, dude, this is maybe like a good deck, maybe a decent deck. Let's see. So if Marinces is a decent deck, this does deserve to be like decent, but it does have the same potential as Marinces, so you could play it as a good deck if you really know how to play those archetypes, but then again, it is just decent. Next up is the Shiranui and Marakashi pack. This pack is absolutely ass, don't buy it. You know, Guzuki and Mizuki are fine from here. Maybe some of the Shiranuis are usable in zombies, but then again, you can just get most of the cards from the structure deck, so no. And we've got the Forest Friends. This pack has the rescue cards and also the Melfi cards. It's a terrible pack to buy, don't buy this, you know, ass. And we've got the Atlantean pack. I don't know who would open this is terrible. And the TG pack, again, just terrible, don't buy this. I love the deck actually, but it's not very good deck. Oh, next up is the Cosmo pack. Dude, this is amazing, absolutely loving it. Yeah, no, I can't do this, okay? I like Distant Coder and how he plays the deck, it's fun, but yeah, it's not very good. And we've got the Ancient Gears. Again, this is not a very good pack. I would put it as maybe terrible, maybe ass. Dude, it's just ass. Okay, I'm sorry, it's just ass. As of the Trishula pack, maybe I would put it as terrible just because it has the Trishulas that are maybe kind of usable in like 5 decks, but consider that as ass. You know, terrible and ass, both of these categories don't deserve to be opened, okay? So yeah. And we've got the Harpies pack. Dude, you know, even though it has Harpies Feather Duster, it is still a terrible pack to buy, don't buy this. Moving on to the Hieratic and Ogoatic pack. Again, this pack is just ass, don't buy this, doesn't have anything that good. I haven't played Ogoatics, but I don't think they are amazing to begin with. And we've got the 6 Samurai pack. Dude, this pack's terrible, don't buy it, please. Next up, the Grave Creepers pack. Okay, just because Necro Valley is there and you can maybe use it for something, it doesn't make it good, don't buy this pack. And we've got the Fire Fist pack. Now, as much as I like the deck, it is still not a good pack to buy. It is a fun deck to play, but you know, you shouldn't spend your gems on it necessarily. And we've got the Agent pack. Okay, I'm gonna put this as terrible just because solemn cards are there and you can maybe get like a couple of good staples, but overall the archetype in this pack is not very good. It is fine though, okay? So maybe like if agents were a little bit better, it would have been a decent pack, but you know, it is not a very good pack to buy. You can just craft the solemn cards at the end of the day. And we've got the Infernoble and Noble Knights. Okay, this pack is again terrible, you know, it has 2 archetypes, one of which is like maybe decent. The Infernoble Knights are maybe decent. You know, a Zodi is a good staple to have, but overall the pack is not very good, obviously. And we've got the Arcana Force, I'm just gonna skip over that. And we've got the Vampire and the Eldritch pack. The Eldritch pack does remain a really nice pack to open. I would put it as decent though, because vampires are not very good and the Eldritch cards are, you know, maybe like decent, you know, they're not amazing. So yeah, let's put it at here. And Super Heavy Samurai. Now with the addition of the new Super Heavy Samurai support, you know, it might become a little bit better to open this pack. For now, it is not a good idea, so I would put it at terrible, but you know, if it gets the support soon, this will be a lot better pack. Next up, we've got the Mech Ward and also the Time Ward pack. Dude, I have no idea how I know this pack, but yeah, it is just terrible. Don't play Time Wards. For 1, they are toxic. For 2, they are terrible. Moving on to the Phantom Knight pack. Now, Phantom Knights are really nice to have. I don't know why stuff like All Dice is in there, but you know, when it comes down to the Phantom Knights card, they are not bad. I don't think they are very much usable nowadays, but I would put that as a good pack because genuinely speaking, you know, Phantom Knights are very good as an archetype. Moving on to the Chaos pack. Now, the Blackluster Soldier pack, you know, it's fun, but it's not very good when it comes down to the Chaos cards. You know, Chaos Ruler, Chaos Creator, the Chaos Space is there. You know, it's like maybe like decent to open if you really want the Chaos stuff. Fine to open, okay? So I would put it at decent. Moving on to the Insector and Battle Wasp pack. Now, this pack also has like small support for insects. you know, it's not very good pack. It's a terrible pack to open. None of these decks do anything much. Moving on to the Dream Mirrors. Dream Mirrors are, you know, another terrible pack. You shouldn't open them. Worms, absolutely garbage, dude. Please don't open this pack. Raid Raptors, it is a, you know, decent pack. Maybe like kinda good sometimes, but overall it's not very good at all. And next up we've got the Kuaki cards. Dude, this pack's terrible. Don't buy this, please. You know, that it doesn't have anything that good. Yalev Justice pack also doesn't have anything good. And the Lightsworn pack, you know, it's maybe like decent, you know, it's fine. Lightsworns are kind of fun, kind of decent to play with. Don't think that just because I put it at decent, it's maybe like a good investment, you know. There are a lot better packs you can buy than this, but it's not as terrible as some of the other ones down here. Next up is the Endymion Mythical Beast pack. This pack is not bad, it is like good. Maybe if you really know how to play pendulums, it gets to like very good in some cases, but I would put it at decent, just because the pack is insanely expensive. And from here we've got the Golden Castle of Stromberg, Fairy Tale, Archetype, and also the Ancient Warriors. Dude, this is like a terrible pack to buy because it has two not good archetypes and one that is maybe like fine with one staple Fairy Tale Snow. Bro, the tier list becomes insanely big. I don't know what to say. Next up is the Evil Hours. They are terrible, you know, like the only good cards are like the boss monsters that are usable in Dinos, but you know, you can't just say that because they're usable in Dinos, it makes it a good pack. Same goes for the Valkyrie pack, unfortunately. Okay, next up we've got the Clifford pack. I think, you know, this pack is, you know, ass, don't buy it. It's not very good. And we've also got the Spellbook pack. Dude, this pack is not good to buy in general, but it also has a structure deck which makes it even worse. And we've got the Ghost Trick pack. Don't open this pack, it's not very good. When it comes down to the Ritual pack, I would say that this is a decent pack to buy. Maybe it's even actually good. Like most of the Ritual staples are really nice to have there, but there are some cards that you don't need, like the Herald and stuff. Overall, I'm gonna put it at good just because Preparation of Rites, and Diviner of the Herald are usable a lot. Okay, next up is the Armed Dragon pack. Dude, first of all, it took me like 5 minutes to realize what that pack actually is, and second of all, don't buy this, please. Next up is the Lunalight and Lilithus pack. It is actually a decent pack to buy. I would say that both archetypes are fine. And we've got the Trap Tricks pack. This pack actually turns out to be very good since the new support makes the deck even better now. When it comes down to the Cubics and the Predaplants, you know, the Predaplants are fine, but the Cubics aren't very good, so I would put it as a terrible to maybe decent option, but you know, let's put it at terrible because you can just craft like the two Predaplant staples that you would need and not buy this pack. It also has Super Poly. You know what, maybe it's like decent if you consider the Super Poly in some of the staples. Okay, let's just put it at decent, alright? I summon Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon to the bottom of the tier and move on. And now Elemental Hero Nias, absolutely terrible pack to open. Numeron pack, guys, I will say that this pack is like decent, but please do not open this. This is absolutely toxic to play, okay? Then we've got the Gagaga Dododo, absolutely terrible. Don't buy this pack, please, not very good. Cyber Dragon is like decent, maybe. These are the Simorgs. Simorgs are like terrible to buy. Next up is the X-Saber and the Arcana Knight pack. This is not a very good pack, obviously, to buy. And next up is one of the best secret packs to open, the Prankets pack. Now, even though it has the Ojamas and it makes it a little more expensive, it is still a really good option because Prankets are still one of the best secret pack decks that you can get in general. And we've got the Dino pack. The Dino pack used to be very good. Now it's maybe like good, but it's still a really good option to buy. When it comes down to the next one though, not so great really. The Fossils and also the Paleozolex, neither of these archetypes are extremely good. Paleozolex are really toxic to play against, and yeah, just not very good pack to open. And next up, another one of the best packs, the Adamancipator Gem Knight pack. Now the Gem Knight part does make it a little more expensive, but the Adamancipators are extremely good nevertheless, so I would put it as one of the best for sure. And next up we've got the Phantom Beast and Machina pack. The Machina part's good, the Phantom Beast card's not very good. Overall it's a decent pack to buy. Moving on to Necros. Necros, in terms of rarity in the pack itself, it is actually really good. It's just that the archetype is not very good, so I would put it at terrible. But I do like the deck, and I do think that the pack has really good value for its gems in terms of rarity, okay? It's just that the deck isn't amazing to begin with. Now I've got the Thunder Dragon pack. The Watt cards do make it a little more expensive for no reason at all, but still Thunder Dragons are very good, so I would put that as a very good pack nevertheless. And next up is the Roid pack. Do not open this, it's not good, you don't have to play it, trust me. Moving on to the Unchained Nephis Fire King pack. This is actually a decent pack to buy. Now I would put it as decent when it comes down to the secret pack, just because it has 3 different archetypes, one of which is only usable and actually kinda good. Next up is the Dark World pack. The Dark World pack is a little bit weird. Like, the new selection pack does have most of the important cards except for the field spell when it comes down to the URs, and most of the important SRs except for Snow. Overall, I would put it as a maybe like decent option since the new support just dropped out and it's actually not a bad pack to open. And next up is the Deep Sea Fish pack. It does have Legendary Fisherman in it for some reason. Yeah, it's just a terrible pack, you know. The Deep Sea Diva and like some of the fish cards are good in some decks, but overall the pack is not very good. You should just craft them. Moving on to the absolute #1 undisputed Speed King Duelist Jack Atlas. The pack is not good, don't buy this. Next up is the Gemini Magnet Warriors. Don't open this, not very good. Moving on to the Junk Warrior pack. Now it does have some good synchro staples, but overall it is really expensive to play synchrons and I wouldn't suggest you do it because it's not worth your gems really, in my opinion. Okay, the tier list got way too big, dude. We've got the Spyros and the Super Quantums. I would say that this is like a decent pack if you are really good with Spyros. Don't open this necessarily, it's just that if you really like Spyros, maybe you can be like somewhat good with it. I wouldn't personally suggest it. Moving on to the Sanavalons and Sylvans. This is actually not a bad pack to open. I do believe that it's a good pack since the plant deck does use quite a bit of these cards from this pack. And next up we've got my favorite secret pack, the Witchcrafter Invoke pack. Now even though I like this pack, it is a terrible pack to buy. Invoke's not very good, Witchcrafters aren't very good, and overall don't spend your gems on this. Next up is the Water Exceeds pack. I don't think that this pack is good at all. Maybe the deck can be decently good, but the pack itself is just so terrible. It has so many URs and SRs that are just not very needed and it is not worth your gems. Next up, Shifting Gear, not a pack you should be opening. It has a lot of bad archetypes in it and it's not worth your time. Same goes for Red Ice. Red Ice is like maybe like not as, but it is a terrible archetype to open. I wouldn't suggest it. Moving on to one other of the best archetypes, the Rocket pack. Now the Rocket pack has Borrow Sword, Borrow Load, and one of the best decks to play in Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel. So I would say that, you know, compared to in a lot of these secret packs, this is one of the best to buy. And next up we've got the Hero pack. Now I have a big problem with the Hero packs, okay? Because they are really expensive and because you can only build like one deck from 3 different secret packs, I would say that this is a terrible option when it comes down to secret packs, but when it comes down to the deck itself, it is actually decent, okay? When it comes down to packs, it is terrible. When it comes down to the deck, it is decent. I'm gonna put it as decent, but you know, don't open this unless you have like 10k gems to spend. Where is the third one? Okay, here. Next up is the Blackwing pack. You know, the structure deck is already out. You don't need to buy the secret pack. Just craft if you need something out of it. And next up is the Sky Striker Mathmech pack. Now, Mathmechs aren't that good now and the Sky Strikers fell off quite a bit, but it's still a decent option to buy. And next up is the Code Talker pack. Now, you don't really need much of these cards. You just need the access code. So I'm gonna put it as decent, but you know, you can just craft the access code and be fine with it unless you wanna play Code Talkers a lot. And next up we've got the Cyber Angels. Now Cyber Angels are terrible. I do like the pack. I do believe that the deck is kind of fun to play with, but it's just not very good. And next up is one of the most interesting ones in my opinion. It has IP, it has Time Thieves, it also has the S-Force, and it also has the Cyframes. Now this pack is like decent to open. You know, Cyframe, Gear Gamma with IP and Time Thief Redoer are 3 very good staples, but the S4 cards and the majority of those cards are just not very good. It's just like 3 good staples in the deck, that's it. And maybe Cyframe Word Omega is kind of a staple, maybe, you know, so yeah, it's a decent pack to open if you want the staples. From here we go to the Charmers, absolutely terrible. Crusaders, kinda decent, you know, I would put it at decent because it has also Orchest in it, and these are 2 decent archetypes to play, but you know, the perfect perfect word for this is like decent. It's not insane, it's not terrible, it's decent. And now moving on to the Stardust pack, you wouldn't really need Stardust Dragon from here, maybe, and the tuning, nothing really more than that. I wouldn't suggest you open it, it's really expensive as a pack and it doesn't offer a lot to the table. And next up we've got the Monarch Element Saber pack. As much as Monarchs are fun to play, it is just not a good pack to open in general, and same thing goes for the Barian pack, don't open this as well. And next up we have one of the worst secret packs to buy, the Assault Mode pack. Please do not spend your gems on this, please. And also the Ritual Beast and the Daigusto pack, don't open Gustos and Ritual Beast, they are both terrible archetypes. Next up we're gonna discuss Ninjas. Ninjas are fine, you know, with the recent support they will become somewhat good, but right now it is a terrible option to buy this pack. The Earthbound Immortal and Malefic pack is another one of those really bad packs, don't open them please. Trust me. And now we go to the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Okay, this pack, you know, it's decent. Okay, I'm gonna put it at decent. It is not as terrible as some of the other ones. Next up is the Evil Eye Archfiend pack. Not a great option to buy, even though Evil Eye got support. The deck's still, you know, not very good to begin with. So no, don't spend your gems on it. And next up, we've got one of my favorite archetypes actually, Amazements. Now, Amazements aren't very good. Abyss Actors aren't very good as well, but, you know, they are decent. I'm gonna put them at decent. And moving on to the Egyptian Gods. I'm sorry, but this is a terrible option to buy this pack, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's a fun pack, but it's not very good. Same goes for the Amazones. Amazones are a terrible option to buy those. And same thing goes for the Infinity packs. Not a very good pack, not a very good option. I do like the Archetype, but it's just not that good. And we've got one of the most controversial packs here. So this pack used to be one of the best, okay? The Zodiacs were good, Crystons were good, and you know, the Heavy Metal Foes are kind of bad, but you know, it got a lot of cool things. But now that Crystal Hawkeye Fibrax is banned and the only usable card is Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, this is absolutely a terrible option to buy it. Next up, Goki, another one of those don't buy packs. Same goes for the Chronomalies. The Doom pack is also kind of terrible. Don't open this again. You know, Relinquished are fun to play, but you know, and it comes down to the pack, it's just not worth your gems. FA and UA, terrible option. Karakuri, terrible option again. The Karakuri pack actually has Gizmex here as well, but they aren't very good as well, so yeah, just a terrible option to buy it. Moving on to Morphotronics, terrible option. I would even put it as it is not good. Don't spend your gems on it. Same goes for the Gladiator Beast, it's just a terrible option. Now the Furhire are one of those archetypes I'm gonna put at good options to buy. It also has Plunder Patrol, which is another good archetype to play. And from here we go to these Speedroids. I'm sorry, Speedroids are decent at most. You know, if you are extremely good player with Speedroids, maybe you can make it decent. Overall, for most people, it's just a terrible option. I used to play this deck a lot and I can tell you that it's a fun deck, but it's not necessarily a good one. And now moving to the Gaia pack. So this, you know, it's not worth your gems to begin with, but it also has a structure deck, which makes it even a worse option to spend your gems on. When it comes down to the Generator and the Subterror pack, these are two of my favorite archetypes in the game, but it's not a good option to spend your gems on it. Subterror Guru is number one, not a fun deck. Number two, a toxic deck. And Generators, you know, are really fun to play with, but you can just craft some of the cards, you know. Maybe it's worth opening it only if you want to play Generators, but just keep in mind that none of these archetypes are really that good. Next up is, I believe, the Wind Up pack. This pack, again, not a very good option. Don't spend your gems on it, it's not good. Next up is the Sacred Beast pack. Not a very good option to spend your gems on. Obviously, it's just for fun. Elder Entity Entes is the only kind of usable cards in maybe some decks, you know. So don't buy this. Moving on to the last one, it is Evo Swarms, absolutely ass. And when it comes down to the new Labyrinth secret pack, I would put it as very good for two reasons. Number one, the deck is really expensive and if you try to open it, you're gonna end up spending a lot of gems. And the secret pack also has the Dark Necrophile stuff in it, which just makes it more expensive to get the Labyrinth cards. For that reason, I don't put it as one of the best options to open because it is expensive and that's one of the criteria, as I said in the beginning of the video. And when it comes down to the Burning Abyss stuff, obviously the pack is not S tier. You know, I just really love the pack and I really love Farfa playing it, you know, he's a really cool guy. That's why I put it here. That was it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something about the secret packs. For those of you who stick to the end of the video, I wanna thank you for that. I know it takes a lot of time to sit here and just listen to someone talking, and I really appreciate it. I also wanna thank DK for having such an amazing website. It really helped making the tier list a lot better. You know, every single pack is here, so that was a lot of useful information for me. If you like my videos and you wanna see more Master Duel content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Also, comment down below what you think about the tier list, and if there's something you don't agree with or something that I missed out on saying, you can comment it down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.